So, if you've spent any time watching any of my videos or, looked at me, it's probably not a secret to you that I love K-pop. And I kind of tried to avoid talking about it too much because I didn't want to be a K-pop only channel. However, I have to talk about it because K-pop is one of my passions. It's one of the things that makes me who I am. And if you couldn't tell, by the tattoo on my arm that I'm sure many of you have already seen. It is a BTS tattoo, and I can tell you about it another time. For today's video, I wanted to talk about some of the fun facts about BTS because there are so many. Honestly, I just love reminiscing about all the cool and funny and stupid things that they've done. Remember, they debuted in 2013, so they've been active on the idol scene for a long time. And in a 10-year career, I mean, obviously it's 12 now, but oh my God, math is hard. Is it 12? No, wait, hang on. Yes, it's 12. I kind of am not really counting the last 2 years because of, all their military service. So if we look at their, decade of super active idol life, they have done so much stuff. And there's just something really special to me about finding and sharing those little moments that really can capture why I love BTS. And okay, yes, I know that BTS is like the most well-known K-pop group in terms of the mainstream. So it's not like I'm exposing secret facts, like lots of people know about them. However, it's not just about that. It's about the human moments that, drove them to become the most well-known K-pop group in the mainstream. There's a reason why they got popular, and it's not just their music, although that is obviously a huge driving factor, but it is so much their humanity, their chemistry between each other, and whether you take that as shipping or as friendship, I'm not here to judge. As long as you're not taking it to the idols, have whatever fantasies you want. And since they have such a long career, I am going to be doing multiple videos about BTS facts. So this video is only pre-Love Yourself era. What that means is the era from 2013 to 2017, basically. The reason I divide it up like that is because the Love Yourself era is sort of when they really, picked up steam and were getting on the Billboard charts and, we're doing world tours. And so the pre-Love Yourself stuff has a little bit of a different flavor. They were not as famous. I mean, they were successful, but it was a different vibe because they were still sort of just idols. They weren't like idols of the entire world. And hey, for all I know, I might do like pre-Love Yourself era, post-Love Yourself era, and then go back and forth because, like I said, when you've been active for as long as BTS has, you've done a lot of stuff and it's so fun. Anyways, please enjoy with me as we look at some of these fun facts. Okay, wait, no, that's not quite right. They're not fun facts. It's like fun memories. Basically, I just want to look at some of my favorite BTS moments. How about that? So, if you already know BTS really well, then why don't you enjoy reminiscing about some of the great old memories? And if you don't know much about BTS, then why not learn some stuff about them, about who they are as people and understand what exactly makes them so special. Oh, and by the way, these aren't in any particular order. It's just the order in which they came to me. I've been accumulating the list for a while. Okay, enough preamble. Let's look at these memories. Memory number one. So it's actually really rare for trainee idols to have any time off. The amount of work that they do to become idols is really insane, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because that's a whole video on its own. And in fact, many people have made that video. But the point is that it's basically school and idol training, and that's it. So a lot of idols go long periods of time without seeing their families. And so if they do get the chance to take time off, especially for a holiday, they're going to jump at the opportunity, right? The reason I bring this up is because back in their pre-debut days, BTS was given a holiday off. I can't remember exactly which one. It was probably Chuseok, but I would have to double check, and I don't remember which video the story was in, but just trust me, it was a holiday. And for whatever reason, Hoseok couldn't go home. So it just the way that the timing lined up, I think his family may have been away or something. In any case, he was just going to be staying at the dorms, like alone, while everyone else went home to visit their families. And he was prepared to do that when the first night there came a knocking at the door, and who was there with a big box of fried chicken was Yoongi. Yoongi didn't want to let Hoseok spend that holiday alone, so he sacrificed time with his own family in order to make sure that they could spend it together and not one of them would be alone. I think that's really precious. Memory number two. So, if you're a more recent fan of BTS, then you're probably familiar with their variety show, Run BTS. But they actually had other shows before Run BTS. One season only of BTS Gaio, and one season only of Rookie King. Now, Rookie King is, I'm going to explain it to you. It's going to sound like I'm making it up, but I swear I'll put in footage of this so you know I'm telling the truth. It was a show where literally it was just an excuse for the BTS boys to like beat up on each other and like be mean to each other. Maybe it was a way for them to blow off steam now that I think about it. No winning conditions, only losing conditions. Like, winning just means nothing happens. And it's weird to think that, like, the men who stood in front of the UN and delivered a speech in, like, perfectly tailored suits were, the same men who many years earlier were, like, blowing garlic breath in each other's face and, like, trying to stick fingers up each other's butts. Like, oh my gosh, that wasn't even the story I wanted to tell. So the actual memory is that in one episode of Ricky King, the punishment was for two members. So yes, there could be more than one skull card in the deck. And the losers in this case were Taehyung and Hoseok. And their punishment was to kiss each other on the lips. It was censored, but I'm pretty sure uncensored footage does exist. And like, I'm talking, it was like little kid kiss, like, like very unserious. But it was later revealed in the episode that that was Taeyong's first kiss ever. And like, poor Taeyong. I mean, I would obviously love to kiss Jung Hoseok, but, what a ridiculous show. Memory number three. This story was told by Namjoon on a different show, not one of BTS's shows. It was like a different Korean show. But he was saying how back when they lived in their first dorm, which by the way was like a one-bedroom apartment with just bunk beds, which seven boys, one bedroom, bunk beds, crazy. Anyways, one night Namjoon woke up in like the middle of the night or like 4 a.m., and he heard this really strange sound. So he gets out of bed and he starts walking down the hallway and he finds Jungkook in the kitchen vacuuming fruit flies. I guess some fruit flies had gotten in, and little baby Jungkook had gotten so fed up, he just got the vacuum cleaner and sucked them all. 4 in the morning. That's amazing. Memory number four. Before the most beautiful moment in life era, so the singles from those were I Need You and Run, Yoongi had actually never worn colored contacts. And I love Yoongi's natural eye color because he has like dark shark eyes. But anyways, The point was that he had a lot of trouble with contacts because he hadn't been wearing them like the others. And he actually had trouble letting, the stylist put his contacts in too, because, a lot of people have trouble with others touching their eyes. And so Jin actually put in his contacts for him because there's so much trust between them. And I think that that's really sweet and wonderful. If I remember to include it, and come on, editing Lex, remember, I'll put in the video of it. I guess warning if you don't like seeing people touch each other's eyes. Memory number 5. This is a really quick one, but the Save Me music video was shot completely in one take. Memory number 6. So, remember how I said that a lot of idols, especially in their trainee days, really don't get a lot of time to see like their family? Well, that's like double so for Friends. So, back in the day of, like I think this would have been around 2014, 2015, there was this new show, and Taehyung was actually on the first episode ever. It was called Celebrity Brothers, and basically the premise of the show is that they would take two celebrity friends and stick them together and give them like a budget to just go have fun together. And it was done because of this, hard life where celebrities, idols don't really get the chance to see many of their friends. So, two things I wanted to say about this episode. First and foremost is that Taeyang got to see his friend Min Jae, who apparently trained to be an idol, but then ended up being an actor. And he said that he hadn't seen a friend in 3 years. The only like friends he saw were the other guys in BTS, and maybe the odd glance with someone, at a music show backstage. But otherwise, he hadn't seen any like external friends in 3 years. And that was kind of tough to hear, but I'm glad that they're living their lives a little bit better now. Okay, a lot better. Anyways, the other thing I wanted to mention was that in this episode, Taeyang tried to ride a hoverboard, those like stupid, a lot of kids like smash their face on them. Anyways, yes, that also happened to Taeyang. Yep, he face planted on the pavement. Whew, I cannot believe he did not break anything in that beautiful face of his. Memory number 7. So this would have been, I think, back around 2016, maybe 2015. BTS were doing a photo shoot, filming some kind of beach thing, I suspect probably for a summer package. And the staff had brought some fresh fruit for them to eat. And among these fruits was a pineapple. And they were like, oh no, we forgot to bring a knife to open the pineapple. So the staff ran off to go get a knife. And when they came back, Jungkook had broken the pineapple open with his hands and was happily eating away. Yeah, that boy at the time, just ripped a pineapple straight open. Memory number 8. So, back during, like, this would have been 2013 for sure. It was absolutely debut days. BTS were on some variety show. It wasn't Weekly Idol, but it was similar, kind of like, you all sit and talk and have interviews, but you also make them get up and do different activities. I'm sorry that I can't remember the name of the show, and because it was early on, this was like way before they were ever subtitling stuff in English, so please forgive me. The memory, though, is that at one point during the show, the hosts kind of tugged Hoseok over to them and they were like, share some dirt about the other guys. Tell us the dirt on BTS. And on camera, on TV, Hoseok tells them that BTS has one computer that they all have to share and it keeps getting viruses. Why does it keep getting viruses? Because Namjoon downloads so much porn. And if that wasn't insane enough, Namjoon stands up to defend himself and yells, yeah, well, if I download it, you guys all watch it. This this man, again, would later go on to deliver an incredibly moving speech in front of the United Nations. Memory number 9. Another quick one. I just wanted to remind everybody that in the song Converse High, during Yoongi's verse, he talks specifically about how he really hates Converse because they're too hard to take off of you. Yeah, just let that implication sink in. Memory number 10. So, in a lot of K pop groups and in their fandoms, respectively, a lot of people consider the leader of the group and the eldest in the group to be sort of the parents of the group. Now, in BTS, this was true for a long time, and I think in some ways, a lot of people still consider Jin and Namjoon to be sort of like mom and dad of BTS. But I will fight to the ends of the earth to defend the fact that I believe the real parents of BTS are Yoongi and Hoseok. And if you would like, I will make an entire video on that because I have so much supporting evidence, I swear. But memory number 10, right? Okay, so back in Wing's era, BTS were at a music festival, one of the Gaios. I'm sorry, again, it's so hard to keep track of them. And when you've watched thousands of hours of a group's footage, the names all blend together at any given. So at this festival, the backstage area was actually kind of like all tents because it takes place outdoors. And so this video was shot inside a tent and it was, BTS backstage. And Jin is feeling a little unconfident about the fire choreography. And granted, it is a difficult choreography. I learned it myself, and yeah, it took a long time to learn, and I almost certainly could not do it as well as Jin can. And, anyways, at that point, he was really nervous, I think, and he had asked Jimin to help remind him of some of the steps. Now, Hoseok comes over, and Hoseok is the dance captain. He basically is in charge of being the correspondent between the choreographers and the other members of BTS. And Hoseok is, Mr. Bubbly Sunshine, but when he is unimpressed, when he is mad, whew, that is a sight to behold. So he sees Jimin, who is such a sweetheart, helping Jin with the choreography, and he comes over with just this look on his face, and he's like, "You know the choreography, don't you?" And Jin is like, "Yeah, of course I know the choreography." And he's like, "Show me." So scary. Like, why is it so much scarier to see a person who's usually happy, mad? I don't know what it is, but anyways, Jin looks to Jimin for some help, and I don't blame him, but Jimin is like, "Peace out, dude, you're on your own." And so I was like, "All right, show me the fire choreography." And Jin does, and he misses like one step, and so Hobie stands up and he shows him again and is like, "All right, you better learn that." But it is one of the very few times on camera that Hobie was caught looking real pissed. Amazing. Memory number 11. So, remember how I talked about that show, Rookie King, that was just punishments? Well, in a different episode, Yoongi's punishment was to wear a maid outfit, but not just wear a maid outfit. And yes, I mean like the little like French maid dress with the headband, like a Japanese maid cafe look, bare legs, I'm telling you guys. And they actually made him in a real cafe with real customers, like take drinks out to people. And like he got through four, maybe three or four before they finally took pity on him. And he ran up the stairs to like go change. And uh, like, I'm all for the fun and games and then beating crap out of each other, but like, I felt sort of like the public humiliation ones were maybe a little too far, but there is something about seeing Yoongi in a dress, I'll give you that. Memory number 12. A fun thing about idols is because they all sort of cross-train with each other. Even often, idols from different companies will end up having trained together at some point. So you end up with friends, which is I don't know, I just think it's really, really cute when idols are friends. I can't articulate it. Anyway, the point is that Kian from Monsta X and Yoongi were actually pre-debut friends. And you don't see them interact a lot. He does mention in a few videos that he's like, yeah, like I talk to Kian all the time. But there is one video from 2015, and again, this is from like a music show or music festival, and usually at the end they call all the groups on stage and they fire off big confetti cannons, and it's a lot of fun, and all the idols get to mingle amongst each other. And in this video, you see Kian kind of like walk around the big crowd of people, bend down, scoop up, like scoop up a big handful of confetti, calmly walk over to Yoongi, whose back is to him. Hyun just throws all the confetti directly into his face from like a foot away. Also, I mean, like throwing things at him already fantastic, but like throwing confetti in someone's face from this far away. So good. Memory number 13. So this is actually going to be the last memory for this video, lucky number 13. I saved this one for last because it's actually probably the most impressive one, at least that I can think of at this point. And I actually know the name of the music festival that they were at for this one because, yeah, it's that important, at least I think so. So back in 2016, Wings era, BTS were performing at the DMC Korean Music Wave Festival, and they were going to perform Fire. And now at festival performances, you often get them doing like a little something extra, often like an intro or a bonus dance break. And in this case, it was a little extra intro. And in this intro, both Jungkook and Jimin, who are very athletic, were supposed to be sort of like shot out of the stage. Now, it was like a spring-loaded platform, and then they would jump at like the apex to make it look like they were being fired out of the cannon. Again, this is why Jungkook and Jimin, because they're so powerful with those aerial stunts. So the extended version of Fire, starts up on the stage. There's smoke billowing. Jimin fires out of his spot in the stage, but when the cameras cut over to where Jungkook is supposed to pop up, there's nothing. He doesn't show up. Where's Jungkook? So the rest of them, the other six of them, are walking down, and then Jungkook kind of runs up from somewhere behind them, and you don't notice it unless you're looking for it, but he's kind of grabbing at his shoulder and making a bit of a face. And honestly, because Fire Arrow was kind of like, they're all kind of making the like sexy sneer. So again, like you don't notice unless you know what happened and the reason why Jungkook didn't pop out of the stage. He was actually saving someone's life. So when the hosts of the festival were exiting the stage, they ended up going in the direction of one of those holes, and it was the one where Jungkook was. And by accident, one of the hosts stumbled into that hole and landed right on top of Jungkook. If he hadn't been there, if he hadn't seen what happened and basically caught him and broken his fall, that man probably would have snapped his neck or at least had a horrible concussion, potentially life-altering injuries. And because Jungkook was there and sort of, it happened fast, but the guy did literally later say that, like, if Jungkook hadn't caught me, I'd probably not be alive. So, what makes this video so impressive? Well, if you know anything about BTS and their choreography, you probably know that the Fire choreography is insanely intense. I actually talked about it in an earlier point in this video. And Jungkook's shoulder was dislocated or torn or something. The point is, he had a really, really serious shoulder injury, and he does that whole choreography. He is doing everything to avoid having to lift that arm. He's modifying the choreography, but just a little bit. And he certainly didn't modify it at the end when there was a part where they have to like lift their arms. There's a bunch of shoulder movements. It's like Nobody has work ethic like this. Anyone else probably wouldn't have gone on stage, but Jungkook did. You know, he's the golden matinee for a reason. Thank you so, so much for coming down memory lane with me and listening to me ramble about my favorite boys in the whole universe. They really are special, and there really are a lot of incredible, impressive, funny, cool, even some sad moments, and they all add up to make BTS what they are. I'm hoping that you'll join me next time for my next BTS memory fun fact video. I'll have to think of a better name before I upload these. Titles kind of matter. I'm definitely going to have to do another one of these because I realize that the video is getting a little bit long and it's better to break these up into shorter segments, I think. I could easily talk for many more hours, but, I have your lives to keep in mind. And yeah, I just thank you so much. I know I keep saying it, but for somebody with special interests, you don't really know how much it means to me to just be able to share something that I love and hopefully just show people why, I don't know. I think you get it though. All right. Well, I really hope I'll see you next time. Remember, stay happy and stay healthy. You are precious. Bonus extra fun memory. In the Rap Lines Cypher Part 3 Killer, which came from the album Dark and Wild, Yoongi has a line in there that says, "Whether you're a guy or a girl, the sound of my voice will turn you on. My tongue will make you come." Yeah, thank you so much, Mingy. Okay, bye.